Welcome to Executive Health and Life. I'm your host, Julian Hayes II, back at it again for another episode. And this is the place that helps entrepreneurs, executives, and investors, and in general, high performing business leaders monitor their health so you can maintain your edge and your status. And most importantly, make this thing called aging irrelevant, or at least redefine it. But anyway, we are almost a month into 2023. And most people have made some sort of resolution or goal, whatever word you want to use it. And a lot of times it revolves around health. And I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but the majority of people tend to fall off around this time of the year. That momentum they had at the beginning of the year, it starts to slowly dissipate because life is getting back up to speed. Business is getting back up to speed. Personal life is getting back up to speed. And so you have the everyday flubs and ebbs and flows of life all coming back to fruition right now. And once again, health once again starts to get placed on the back burner. And we have seen this story countless times where motivation is at an all-time high for those first few weeks. And then everything is operating according to plan for those couple of weeks. But then around this time, as I said, the gym slowly, you begin to lose that motivation, slowly begin to lose that inspiration. Some of those not so good eating habits are coming back up. Grabbing things just out of convenience because maybe you're rushing from one meeting to the next meeting, closing it and trying to close a deal or something, or just in general connect. And that's a big part of your business. And this is normal. And this is a proverbial cycle that a lot of people fall on. And no one's immune to this. No one's immune to this. And so as I use the word resolution, use the word goal, I want you to do something different. If you're a person who is starting to lose some momentum right now, and you just don't have that fire that you had at the beginning of the year already, because, like I said, there's so many things going on in life right now. I'm going to share 5 things in this episode, and this is a more of an impromptu episode. And this conversation came from the gym that I was having with a gentleman in the sauna, and we were talking about this. And so I thought about, well, if it's beneficial for him, then I think it'll be beneficial for some of you all out there as well. And also, these are reminders for myself, because a lot of times, some of the lessons that you apply with fitness and health, these very lessons can be applied to your business to go to the next stage. I know for me, a lot of the things that have really helped me with my health and fitness, I need to start using this more and more when it comes to my professional development. And so as I said, these are 5 things that you can use to become healthier and fitter this year, and more importantly, healthier and fitter for the long term, and not just in each short time period. So the very first thing that you can do is a concept called front loading your work. And this is why this is important. You have work, family, partners, leisure events, other unexpected events, business meetings. Some of you all create content, and there's other different things, such as leading other managers, sales. There's always something that's vying for your attention. And knowing that life in general and these other various commitments, knowing that these things can get in your way, the best thing that you can do is to future-proof your health and fitness. Future-proof your healthy habits. And so to future-proof your habits, this is where front-loading your work comes into play and preparing ahead of time for potential obstacles, chokeholds, and distractions. So you can think about maybe a financial advisor, or you can even think about just in general your finances and how you have separate accounts for different things. Some people have a general savings account. Some people have an investment account. Some people have a business account. And some people have a dumb mistakes emergency account. So you have these different accounts for different scenarios in life. So you're prepared for potential chokeholds. You're prepared for different events that may come up. So how does this look when it comes to the gym here? Well, if you know that getting to the gym after work is difficult, you know that it's just tough. You know, you've had so many different meetings today, and the last thing you want to do is go to the gym. One thing, there's a couple solutions, but the first one is you can pack your gym clothes and head there immediately after work instead of going home first. That sounds super basic, but you would be surprised at just how comfortable it is when you get home after working, after leading, after making so many tough decisions. You get home and you just want to sit down. You'll be surprised at just taking your clothes and skipping that step, how much more your compliance rate goes up. Another thing you could do is do it in the morning. Do it before you go to work. Do it before any of the meetings. If you know that people are going to demand your attention and you have other responsibilities as well throughout the day, the best thing you can do is take those first few hours in the morning and dedicate them to yourself. Because you have to fill up your own bucket before you fill up anybody else's bucket. You have to be at your top peak performing state so you can give your best to everyone else around you. And if you also have a busy work schedule, then this makes cooking difficult throughout the week. And, well, you can stack the conditions in your favor. You can meal prep. And I'm not one to meal prep. I don't like meal prepping. I like cooking. It's a way for me to relax. But if you're a person who doesn't like to do that, then perhaps you can meal prep a couple of days, cook for a couple of days, maybe 2 or 3 days, or leverage meal delivery now, even more so than meal prep, because I just don't like meal prep. I don't know why. Meal delivery services are great. So, and you can break this down further. If breakfast is something that is no problem for you, but where you tend to kind of lose that compliance and kind of veer off course is in the middle of the day, order enough meal delivery, have that set up to where you're taken care of so you don't have to stop the flow of your work throughout the day too much, and you're going to have something that keeps you on track with your goals. And the last part here when you're front loading is I want you to schedule your workouts into your calendar, schedule your running into your calendar, just as you schedule your doctor's appointments, just as you schedule your business meeting, just as you schedule a podcast interview, just as you schedule a meetup, schedule it into your calendar. If it doesn't get on the calendar, then it doesn't exist. And a lot of people operate this way. The very next thing that you can do, number 2 here, is to don't break the chain. So when you're starting an exercise habit, or you're trying to take this habit up to another level, a nutrition habit, whatever the habit is, the most important element is consistency, is discipline, and just doing it. Not even necessarily being worried about just the actual result that's coming from it for right now. You just really need to train yourself to get into the habit. You're forging an identity of like, I'm a person who does this. I'm a person who does that. And so Jerry Seinfeld, at the beginning of his career, he made a commitment to write 1 joke a day. Every day he wrote a joke. He marks an X on the calendar. And this meant he was successful for the day. The joke could be awful, but at least he did it. The same thing that you can do with your training and your fitness. Make a daily exercise habit. Make it 30 minutes a day in the form of lifting weights, running, CrossFit, boxing. It really doesn't matter. You're just getting yourself in motion. And this is going to be also highly individualistic, depending on what your goals are and depending on where you are in terms of your health and performance journey right now. With nutrition, think about staying hydrated. So it's maybe getting 10 to 16 glasses a day. 16 glasses a gallon of water. So that's why I said 10 to 16 glasses a day of water. Maybe it's having at least 7 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables. These are very basic things. But before all the biohacking, the cold showers, the plunges, the saunas, the peptides, the supplements, all those things are great. All those things are the icing on the cake. But at the very fundamental level, you have to master the basics. And you have to be proficient at those basics. Think about an NBA player. They still routinely practice free throws, dribbling drills. Even they can still do the fancy dunks, the fancy crossovers and all that. But at a fundamental level, they're always focusing on the fundamentals. And then they're adding the other things that are the icing on the cake. So the third thing here is to make a commitment to playing the long-term game. Think like an investor here, not like a day trader. Nothing wrong with day traders. But in this instance, you are a long-term investor. You are Warren Buffett right now, or John Templeton, or any other investor, whoever you like. Now, playing the long game in business and definitely in health and fitness is one of the biggest advantages that you can give yourself. Because when you play the long-term game, you give yourself clarity on what it is that you exactly want. But you also give yourself the gift of patience. Patience and discipline and consistency is a dangerous combination in a good way. Now, playing the long-term game, this prevents you from chasing the short-term thrills that only places you further away from the goal in the long run. And it's a quote, a saying that I always remember that was shared with me by one of my elders. It's pursuing short-term pleasure only leads to long-term agony. Now, he was not talking about fitness, I don't think. Actually, he wasn't talking about fitness. He was talking about with women and everything. But when he said that to me, I took it as like, oh, this is a very good lesson in business. This is a very good lesson in health as well. So I'm going to keep this in my head. Oftentimes, pursuing short-term pleasures typically leads to long-term agony. Let that ingrain in your head. Now, a couple of strategies that will help you play the long-term game, that will help you build out this long-term strategy. Number one, it's very easy. Most people will skip it, but it's really helpful. Ask yourself why 3 times before you make an impulsive decision. And what this does is this allows you to dig a little deeper into why you think you want something, why you want to make a particular decision. And the first why is sometimes maybe because I want it or I enjoy it. But then if you really get down into it, there's usually some kind of emotional pull or some type of feeling that we are trying to mask or eradicate and get away from. And so I always think about a person who just grabs for the sweets at certain times, and that person's seeking pleasure out or seeking some type of dopamine hit that maybe, they're stressed from the day in terms of work or something else going on in their life. And this sweetness from this dessert or something is going to help counter that feeling that they have. Now, another thing that you can do is to ask yourself, does this particular decision benefit me in the long run? And then if not, well, it's an easy no. And so I think about Amazon, think about Jeff Bezos and how he was crystal clear and rigid on the vision, but he was completely malleable on the details in terms of how we accomplish this goal. So once again, be rigid on your vision, be rigid on where you want to go, but be malleable and open to how you get there. And if the thing doesn't fit and catapult you closer to that vision, then it should be an easy no. because it's not in alignment. It's not in congruence with who you are, your identity, and where you're going. Now, the fourth thing here is to simply find a routine that you love. Now, I like video games. I don't play video games anymore because I needed to be productive, and those things are very addicting. But as a little boy, I played video games a lot. And to a certain extent, I kind of think of fitness as the same as playing a role-playing game. And role-playing games is a short for RPG. Basically, you choose your own adventure for those who never played any video games. And in those things, a lot of times, there wasn't any one specific way to beat the game. There wasn't just go from point A to point B to point C to point D to point E. It wasn't a linear operation. It was far from a linear thing. There was a multitude of ways to reach the end goal. So even if the end goal was to defeat a certain boss, to reach a certain destination, you had flexibility and choice in how you reach that end goal and how you finally arrive at the final destination to defeat the boss. And a game I think about is Final Fantasy, where there's so many different side quests. There's still a big term, long-term vision, of course, but there's so many side quests. And so this was up to you and your style and your liking in terms of how you wanted to play it. And this is what I think about health and fitness. And I think about those who succeed long-term with this, they essentially have adopted this mentality. I know I have. So many diets, think about this. Many diets will help you lose weight. There's, paleo, there's keto, low carb. Some people say carnivore. Some people are vegans, vegetarians, pescatarians. There's so many. So many. Man, it's like a laundry list of them. But while there's so many different ways that you can lose weight in terms of your nutritional strategy, not all diets will work with your specific lifestyle, with your specific food preferences, with your specific genetics. Not all diets at this point in time are probably as conducive as other ones when it comes to your current lab reports and blood. And this is where your focus needs to lie. Decide which of these plans suits your palate, suits your genetics, your blood work, but most importantly, caters to your specific lifestyle and your fitness goals, and also seamlessly meshes with your business life and your personal life. It's all a symbiotic relationship. They all feed into each other. They don't exist in silos. And too often times people get on this proverbial seesaw of a couple of months, they're doing good, and then they fall back down again, and then they come back up good again. And the reason why is there's no congruency, there's no synergy between the key areas of life with them. They haven't made them all mesh into one. So the last point here that can help you this year, and it also can help you get back on track, is to simply implement the 1% diet. Many of us want to go from 0 to 100 with the flick of a wrist, just like that. 0 to 100, instantaneous millionaire. 0 to a million. From flab to six pack. I don't know. Sounds like a good line, but you get my point. We have so many Instagram transformations and other rags to riches stories. This all seems like the norm. And, speaking of Instagram, I don't have an Instagram. I see friends' Instagram sometimes. That site is something else. No, thank you. But anyway, I don't want to go on a side tangent. Instant transformations, quote unquote, instant transformations. If you're watching this on Spotify, if you're watching this on YouTube, instant transformations are anything but that. As I learn in various courses, learn from mentors, and learn the hard way personally, slow and steady trumps these large leaps. Slow growth is often fast growth. You slow down to speed up. And that might sound counterintuitive, but a lot of things that can come as fast can also go as fast. These things also, the 1% diet and taking this slow and steady approach helps with overly restrictive regimens. Now, when I think about regimens, though, these regimens may work in the short term. But what about the long term? Once again, as that was one of our talking points earlier, what about the long term? This is not about a 90-day sprint and then forgetting it. You know, one of the key aspects of optimal health is to realize that there's no endpoint. The game continually evolves. And a healthy lifestyle is a game that lasts a lifetime. It's not just for a few weeks. So to get you back on track this year, or to keep you on track this year, start each day with the objective of only improving by a small percentage. 1%. 1%. It's so easy that it's so easy to overlook. You know, this entails that you are taking these small. Some of these are painless. Some of these have a little pain. Some of these are a little uncomfortable. But most oftentimes, they're so small and insignificant seeming. But these things add up. And a great book that accompanies that concept is The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. It's a fantastic book. It's all about this. You know, when you take these small steps, when you focus on just being 1% better, this is increasing the likelihood of sustaining and accomplishing these goals that you have, these regimens, these resolutions that you have. And this extends to business. This extends to leadership, relationships, being better with people. And of course, this extends to health. And of course, this extends to healthy aging, because you're improving by 1% each day, and that adds up over the course of time. And you can see that as you continually lab test yourself. So it may seem significant in the short term, but 30 days from now, 60 days, and even a year from now, that's a substantial increase. And that can transform your health and life. So I didn't want to go too long on this episode. But once again, these 5 things that can help you get back on track this year, or they can further solidify the progress that you are making this year. Number 1 is to front load your work. Number 2 is to don't break the chain. Number 3 is to make a commitment to plan the long-term game. You are a long-term investor. You are Warren Buffett right now. You are not a day trader. And number 4 is to find a routine that you love. And lastly, implement the 1% diet. So as we land this tip, stay awesome, be limitless, and go be the CEO of your health and life. Any questions, reach out to me at julian@executivehealth.io. Any interests or in terms of helping you when it comes to creating bespoke health and longevity plans, you can reach out to me as well at julian@executivehealth.io, or just go to the site. Until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Peace.